I asked my boyfriend how I should open this video, and he said in the most monotone, unenthusiastic voice, "Hey gang." So, hey, how are you guys? Sorry, I like cats. I actually filmed this video last October, didn't have time to work on it, lost the SD card, but now that we're basically on house arrest, I've had plenty of time to find it again. So here we are. Also, that's not my yacht, in case you were wondering. I mean, I wish, but no, just a stock photo. It just goes with the theme. We're going to be doing a Goldie Hawn costume based on the movie Overboard. Don't ask what possessed me to want to be this. I mean, this movie came out in the 80s, and I know they made a remake, but I think it was a few years ago. I don't think it was in 2019, and I didn't really like that version anyway. I just really wanted to be something bougie, and I really like Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. They're probably one of my favorite Hollywood couples. I can't believe they're still together, because you know how things are in Hollywood. But anywho, let's get started. Originally, I wanted to thrift items for this look, but I just did not have enough time to find everything and then figure out how to sew it all together and detach it and everything else. So I headed to Joann Fabrics, spent a little more than I wanted to on some embellishments, some sequin fabric, and a robe pattern. And then I called my mom, because in times like these, she knows what to do. So I called her and I was like, "Hey, Mom." And she was like, "Hey, how's it going, hon? How you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, I really need your help. I'm going to send you this picture of Goldie Hawn. How would you make the jacket?" And she was like, "That's not a jacket. That's a robe." And I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure that's a jacket." And she was like, "No, that's definitely a robe. Why would you wear a jacket with a swimsuit?" And I was like, "Oh, I think you're right. It is a robe." And then she was like, "Yeah, I know. Anything else?" And I was like, "Oh, no, sorry. Right. Okay, love you, bye." And she said, "Bye, hon. Love you." I ended up going with this robe from Macy's. It's actually a bride robe, but I figured it was going to be covered up anyway. Again, it was a little more than I wanted to spend. I wanted like a cheaper robe, but I get an idea in my head and it has to look exactly like that idea, and this is what I could find. So my first step was to sew some shoulder pads into the robe that I bought from Macy's, just to give it that extra oomph that she has. I mean, her shoulders were really out there with those embellishments, so we really want to make them high. And I found a really great video on YouTube I'll link below in case, you know, A, anybody's even watching this, and B, maybe you need to sew some shoulder pads into something. So there you go. It's bad if you're cringing as you're recording yourself rather than watching it back later. I'm already cringing, but that's okay. So this is the end result. You can see the shoulder pads and the full robe here. Next, using a robe pattern, I sewed the sequin fabric into its own robe, and then I thought I could sew the two robes together. I'm not sure that that was the best idea, but you know, like I said, I'm not a seamstress here, people. I'm sure there was some seamstressy way to do this, by individually cutting the pieces and sewing them on and yada yada yada, but this is the route I took, and it came out kinda okay. While I'm finishing up the sequin robe, I'm going to list some Goldie Hawn movies that I really like. The first one, and most obvious, being Overboard. It's about this, I guess we'll call her overly sassy rich girl that's having her yacht renovated by a carpenter who she treats like hot garbage, to be quite frank. She ends up falling off her yacht one night and gets amnesia, and then he finds this out and basically claims her as his wife. And then they kind of fall in love. It's kind of like a riches to rags, back to riches kind of story. Super cute. The second one is Death Becomes Her. Now this one's kind of strange, so I don't know how I feel about recommending it, but I really like it. Basically, Goldie Hawn loses her man to her former best friend, who also happens to be a movie star, which, not gonna lie, that would rub the salt even further into my wounds. So she's basically like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, I'm just gonna try to get as hot as I can to get him back. And she discovers this elixir of life, and she takes the elixir. Well, it turns out so did her friend. But then all this weird stuff starts happening to their bodies, and like their parts are falling off. It's like I said, it's kind of strange. And then the last one is the Banger Sisters, which is about two 60s groupie friends who end up going their separate ways and reunite 20 years later just to find that one is still living that fast life, and the other one is a suburban mom, and her family has no idea what she was like in the past. So yeah, those are just some of my favorite Goldie Hawn movies. I mean, if you're anything like me right now in our current situation and you have some free time, definitely check them out. And if you absolutely hate them, feel free to yell at me in the comments. Once I finally finished the sequin robe, I put both robes on my dress form so that I could line them up and then pin them for sewing. And I'm actually really glad that I did add a satin robe underneath the sequin robe because, I mean, as you know, probably sequin fabric can be really scratchy on your skin. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that all night long. And then as you can see here in the footage, I didn't have to finish any of the edges of the sequin fabric because I already had a finished edge on the satin robe that was going to be popping out. So the way that I sewed it, I didn't really have to make, a finished edge of any kind. And being that I'm, less experienced, as I've said before, it just made it a little bit easier for the to get the effect I wanted. Then for the collar, I was able to find some really sturdy felt that I just cut into a strip and sewed to the neckline of the robe. It was so sturdy that it actually stood up straight on its own when I put it on my dress form, which was perfect because, as you know from the pictures, her collar is most definitely popped. Then I just needed some more red felt that I cut into the same size strip, and I just hot glued it to the white felt. I thought the glue would maybe make it just that much more sturdy and just give it some extra support. And then I was basically ready to start putting on my embellishments. Most of the embellishments I found, I guess, I don't know, what's that aisle called at Joann's? The embellishment aisle? Is that literally what it's called? I don't know. But it looked like it was pieces that would go with, maybe curtains or tapestries or pillows. So you're just using like ropes and lots of golds and sequins. And I think she might have actually had some rhinestones on hers, which I kind of wish I would have added now. But I mean, it's not too late technically, but I'm already making this video, so now it is. But I mean, yeah, I guess just, I kind of had fun with it and just kept layering and layering until I got that look. After that, I headed on down to the shoulders, and using that same exact type of white felt, I cut strips, and I actually ended up hand sewing them on each side. I tried to use my sewing machine, which was probably really stupid, but I couldn't get the needle to go through the thick shoulder padding, so I try not to hand sew just because I feel like it's really time consuming and I'm not that great at it. But since no one would really see this anyway and I was about to put a bunch of hot glue on top of it, I went with a hand sew. Then I took this fringy fabric and I ended up hot gluing it into layers because I wanted it to be as thick as possible. Because if you look at the tips of her shoulders, she has all this thick fringe dangling down. I wish I could have found something as nice as hers, but this was the closest thing I could find. And then I ended up actually hand stitching this to the felt, and then I think I glued it to secure it as well, just to make sure it was extra secured on the edge. Then I found this really nice rope detail that I'm just kind of putting around the edges to just give it a cleaner look. I think hers also had some like roping near the edge. I know there were rope details in the embellishments if I go back and look at the photo. And then I layered a piece of red felt on top of that just to tie in the neckline. Then I added the same embellishments that I had on the outside of the collar. And then I added this extra little rope detail that you'll kind of see better toward the end on top to give some height to the shoulders. And then I started wrapping the rope around the neckline as well, just to anywhere that I saw that I could, finish it off or give it that extra touch. I tried to add those details in. And then I'm not sure what happened to the footage of me sewing these little ribbons into the arms, but I actually did a really bad job if you look up close, so I'm not sure that detail matters anyway. And then I think this was me just showing the bottom. I'm not really sure why I had to do that. I mean, I think I was just trying to point out that, hey, I'm really not that great at sewing. As I've said probably way too many times in this video. You could probably take a sip every time I've said that. The scenes where she's wearing this outfit are so quick, it was kind of hard for me to catch every single little detail. But I did notice it looked like she had maybe some kind of anchor or something on the back of the robe. So I ended up, I didn't find a big enough anchor that I liked, so I ended up using this little, like, compass stencil that I found. I think I got it at either Walmart or Michael's. I'm sorry, I can't remember where I got everything, but, and then I just got some gold paint and painted it gold, and then I just added some little gems just to kind of, you know, give it the finishing touch. So the last final touch I had to add were these little blue and red anchors. I didn't realize that she had these until kind of later in the game, but I found these ones on Etsy, so I'll try to link the person below that makes them. But yeah, I ended up actually just hand sewing them on. Didn't do the best job, but I actually had to finish it in the car because I was basically running out of time at this point, but it got done nonetheless. And this is how the robe turned out. I think overall it's, you know, it's pretty good. It gets the job done. It's just a costume, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think it looks, you know, fairly similar to hers. So I was pleased with the outcome. Looking back at the photos, you'll notice she has a gold and blue brooch on the front of her bathing suit. And I didn't have anything for that, and I was kind of in a pinch, so I ended up finding this old AirPod and Apple Watch case that I had, and I cut out the little holders for it because I thought that would be a good shape for a brooch. And then I thought I could just paint them and just try to make something similar looking. I didn't really know how it was going to turn out, but I was like, yeah, this is kind of like a cheap little quick solution. I'm not sure this step was necessary, but since this was sort of like a foamy material, I ended up covering it with a liquid modeling paste that's for paintings. I just had some in a drawer from a painting that I attempted. And then I figured I could maybe just paste some of the extra foam behind that hole in the center and then fill it with some of the modeling paste to smooth it out so it's all level. I ended up painting the center with just a blue acrylic paint that I already had from a painting that I attempted. I say attempted because I've made another video with me painting a painting that I sort of hate, mainly because I don't know how to paint. Then I painted the sides gold with this just metallic gold paint, but I ended up not really liking it with just the paint, so I thought maybe I could add an embellishment around the blue part just to make it look a little more realistic, like a brooch. So I used the extra rope from the sleeves of the robe that I had and just wrapped that around the little brooch. And then I actually covered the sides with just some gold ribbon. Then instead of attaching a pin, I super glued another piece of the, I guess, AirPod or Apple Watch holder that I cut inside the brooch. So that way I could just kind of wedge whatever fabric in between to secure it onto an outfit without poking any holes in it. Since I didn't want to do the extra work to sew the swimsuit, I ended up getting this really close match on Amazon. I think it was like 18 bucks, but I'll link it below in case anybody's interested. Then I went ahead and attached the brooch to the swimsuit. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but basically I'm just sliding the fabric in between the brooch and then that little extra piece that I had glued in. I did that just because I didn't want to poke any holes in the swimsuit, so I think it worked out pretty well. Alright, now we're on to some of the final touches. So I got one of those hair poofs that make your bun look bigger than it actually is. And I went ahead and put that in my hair, you know, just did it the traditional way to make it look like a bun, just like hers is. And kind of did it off to the side, I don't know if you can tell in the picture. And then I just secured it with some bobby pins around the sides to secure it. Then I ended up using this Color Bombs Brushed Gold hairspray that made my hair, it was supposed to make my hair look blonde. It was a little on the metallic-y side. I really just wanted to try that Root Touch Up from L'Oreal in blonde, but I just could not find the blonde color everywhere. They were sold out. I mean, I guess just because it was Halloween, I don't know. Then, luckily, they had the Christmas decorations out at Michael's because I couldn't figure out where to get a hair clip like hers. And I ended up finding these little sparkly silver, I don't know what those are, poinsettias or flowers or something. So I actually ended up gluing them to, or no, I didn't glue them actually. I wired them around these silver bobby pins and then just put them right into the bun. So I wanted a flat shoe so I could be kind of comfortable. I love these little Nina ones. I actually found them on Poshmark for like, I think they were like 15 bucks or something, and they were barely used. And then I don't know how necessary this was, but I found this little Lifesaver purse. I was like, oh, Lifesaver, yacht, boat, overboard, get it? Haha. Yeah, I know. But it was pretty cheap, and it was a nice little purse, you know, just something to carry around for Halloween. So those are just some of the little final touches that I put on the costume. And now for the finished look. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay safe out there, and thanks for watching. Bye!